Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is the Diploma Paloma. And as always, is the featured cocktail in today's episode. I'm going to start with our blender with ice. To that, we're going to add... Recipe calls for 2 ounces light agave syrup. I don't have agave syrup, or light agave syrup, but I have agave syrup. 2 ounces. Very dark agave syrup. That's a lot of syrup, boys and girls. We're going to go into a diabetic coma. Next, 4 ounces ruby red grapefruit juice. 4 ounces. Four ounces tequila. Apparently this makes 2 cocktails, boys and girls. Probably should have halved everything. One ounce fresh lime juice from the plastic lime. 1 ounce. And finally, 1/2 ounce pomegranate juice. And then we pulse on high speed until ice is crushed and drink is a slushy consistency. About 30 seconds. Then we're going to take our rocks glass, which we have already rimmed with chili powder and salt. And we're going to put ice in it. For reasons I don't understand. Then we're going to pour our slushy cocktail in. And there you have it, boys and girls, the Diploma Paloma. Yeah, pretty good. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
This week's episode on the Scary Spirits podcast, Graduation Day from 1981, brings back so many memories. Let's be real. 1981 wasn't the greatest year for fashion or hairstyles, but I totally felt nostalgic about it all. Even the track meet scenes gave me the feels. But geez, the men in this movie come off as complete jerks. Some of the women, too. Were we all that unlikable in the 80s? Our perspective has definitely changed over the years, and we were totally not the audience for this one, especially me. But one thing is for sure. High school graduation is an exciting milestone, and I have one experiencing all of it right now. I just hope he isn't as awful as some of the kids in this movie. Nah, he's delightful, I'm sure, just like his mama. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Greg.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Greg?
I can't complain, Karen. I can't complain.
Oh, I can always complain.
I don't hate it.
I'll take that.
I believe this week's film was your choice, was it? Was it not, Karen?
Sure you don't hate it? This was my choice.
Tell us, Karen, what cinematic masterpiece have you chosen for us yet again this week?
I don't like your tone. Well, since I have a youngster graduating, I picked the 1981 film Graduation Day.
I see what you did there, Karen.
See, I'm infusing my life into this, Greg.
You're a giver.
I am. I'm sure everybody's so excited.
Do we have a cocktail to go along with this
We do.
film?
It's called the Diploma Paloma.
And how would one make such a concoction?
Look at you with the big words today. It's just basically a frozen paloma. So you're going to need...
For those of you who knows what that is, I don't know.
First, you're going to get a shallow plate and combine some chili powder and a couple pinches of salt. Rub the rims of 2 rocks glasses with a lime wedge and then dip them into the chili powder mixture to coat. Then, in a blender, you're going to combine... Remember, this is for 2.
So I guess we're not supposed to drink this alone?
I guess not.
Well,
Always-
we're not. We're together.
Right, we're together.
Drinking together, yeah.
Well, if you you'll have a friend to commiserate that your child is growing up, getting a diploma. Or if you're getting your own diploma, woohoo, cheers.
Yeah, good for you.
Combine 4 ounces of ruby red grapefruit juice, 4 ounces of tequila, 2 ounces of light agave syrup, 1 ounce of fresh lime juice, and half an ounce of pomegranate juice into a blender. Fill with ice and pulse on high speed until the ice is crushed and the drink is a slushy consistency. About 30 seconds, which was about, although I think when I poured it out, there was a big kadunk. I think I have a piece of ice in there.
Well, it says to put ice in the glass before you pour the drink in.
What? It says in the blender.
Yeah, keep reading. What's the next step,
Fill
Karen?
prepared glasses with ice and pour the
there you
cocktail
go.
into the glasses. So I did that inadvertently. Garnish with grapefruit wedges if you're fancy.
Thank you, Karen.
I think it's tasty.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but we'll get to it later. We'll see how I like the second one since it makes 2.
We're on a grapefruit juice run this last couple weeks.
Yeah, look at us being all healthy.
I know.
All right, should we give our friends and listeners time to make their own Diploma Paloma?
Yes, let's do that.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
I'm just going to say right now, I like the salt and chili powder. So, in case I forget.
Okay. Noted.
Karen, might you have a brief synopsis of this film for us from 1981? You remember 1981, Karen?
I do. Even more now after watching this.
Go on, tell us all a story, Karen.
At Midvale High School, Coach Michaels pushes over athlete Laura Ramstead, who dies. After 2 months, her sister comes to attend the graduation in her honor. When she arrives, murder ensues for the high school track team.
Thank you, Karen, but I have to let our friends and listeners know that the coach does not push her over.
No,
Doesn't push her to the ground. He just pushes her.
he pushes her hard to run fast.
Yes, but that's what this synopsis says.
Well, we don't usually correct our synopsises, synopsi.
And we are a match. All right, Karen, tell us everything you really enjoyed or were pleasantly surprised by in this film. Did it take you all the way back to 1981?
It kind of did, because I did run track and cross
I know.
country. So that part of it was,
So you have firsthand knowledge
I,
of
you
this.
know, right?
I've been to one track meet in my life, and I was there to watch my future daughter-in-law do the shot put.
Nice.
So,
I ran distance though. So I ran the mile, the half mile, did the mile relay. I even did long jump once when we didn't have enough people.
so,
Never did that again.
so there's a song called "The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner." Is that like a thing or something?
It does get lonely after a while.
Okay.
You're stuck with yourself for a long time. But in track, it's only a mile. I guess there's a 2 mile too, but I didn't do that.
All right, go on. What did you really like?
Um, I liked the nostalgia. I mean, it was kind of my wheelhouse. This is
Your glory days.
no, I wasn't. I said I ran track. I didn't say I was good.
Well, I mean,
I
back
wasn't.
back then, what was there to compare it to, Karen?
Yeah, because they had just started.
Yeah, weren't you the first cross country?
That was cross country, yes.
Okay.
But track, I wasn't terrible. I just wasn't good. I was like in the middle of the pack, and that's where I like to be.
Oh, you had a big photo spread in the yearbook.
I did.
I think so. Or
Well, I
maybe
was
in like
cute.
the weekly newspapers or whatever we used to
I
get.
was cute, Greg. I didn't. I wasn't good. No. There's a gymnast in it, and I did appreciate. They did sort of use athletic kids in the casting. So I was like, okay. Some of them did look 30, but some of them looked younger. I think the main characters looked older, but a lot of the periphery people looked like they were high school students. I mean, it's kind of a teen horror slasher film. I guess it's okay for that. But I'm not gonna. I honestly didn't like much about it. Had never heard of it. I don't know if it was a straight to video. I don't know anything about it, but I wasn't impressed. Were you?
So I pretty much, for what I liked, wrote nothing down.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I agree. The main cast, the people that you read their names on the poster, they're all like 30. But everyone else, I felt like they just used students at whatever high school they were filming at.
Yeah, I mean,
And so we saw there was two girls that we saw like three. If we saw them twice, we saw them five times.
I know. And the only comment I had about them is they're terrible, but whatever.
And they were, but they were probably high school seniors or whatever.
One was Vanna White.
Oh, that's right. There was supposed to be a Vanna
One of
White.
those girls was Vanna White, so I don't think they were high school seniors. I don't know when Vanna White graduated, but
That's right. I'd read that and forgotten about it. Look at you, Karen. It's filmed in 1980, right? So it looks like 1980,
yes,
which I guess is, if you're looking for some nostalgia, like old school slasher thing, is a good thing, I guess.
it's okay as a teen slasher. It's not great.
Yeah, it's okay.
You can see some homages to other films in it, and you get all the thing. You got your nudity a little bit. You get all the things, but it's just kind of, I don't know if the acting's bad or the writing's. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't come together very well.
It's kind of choppy. It doesn't transition between scenes well. I mean, we're like, okay, what? What? Where are we now? Oh, okay. Oh, but the same two girls are there? Okay.
But they had the roller rink, which was big. We
Was
did
it
the,
though? It looked kind of
well,
small.
no, I meant in the time
And apparently everyone at this school has to get to their house by walking through these
the same
woods.
path.
This path.
Okay, we're on to things we don't like
All
now.
right. Well, all right. That's true. That's true. All right. Anything you did not enjoy, Karen?
Well, here's the thing that I noticed about it. When it started, I kind of thought, oh, it might be kind of good. And then it just deteriorated the longer it went on. It just got worse and worse and worse. I don't know if they filmed in order or what, but at first I was like, it's an interesting premise. I had hope. Like, oh, maybe it's not going to be terrible. And then it just goes to shit. And track meets aren't like that. Nobody goes to them. At least not back in 1981, they didn't. But whatever. The running form for most of the girls is terrible. But I will say that no male in this entire film has a good look about it. Every man in this film is an asshole. Every single
I
one.
don't know.
Name one that wasn't.
Well, we don't really get to know the pole vaulter, which he looks very athletic. I mean, that dude's a pole vaulter, right?
Okay, but he didn't have any lines.
He
I'm
didn't.
talking about the main character,
And
like
the football player. I mean, he's a football player, but we don't really know him. And
the
apparently he ran
teachers were
track as
all
well.
the stepdad was
Yes, yes, yeah,
terrible. The
yeah.
teachers were horrible. The
All the old
principal,
men, all the old white men in
yes,
leisure
the
suits were terrible.
principal, the cops, the even the boyfriend, like the boyfriend on the bench, all of them, just terrible, terrible. So that was annoying. I was just like, what was it? I was trying, like, I started to be like, is this how all the movies were in 1981? And I'm looking back on them now going, oh my God, was every guy always an asshole in the movies? It wasn't a good look for anyone. The acting's not great. The sister comes home. I knew who it was almost immediately.
I
They
was
try
going to
to,
ask.
they were going to, as soon as she went to his house, I'm like, it's the boyfriend. Like you knew right away. They try to kind of take you down some different paths, but it's not very effective. The sister seems very inappropriate with her dead sister's boyfriend. Everybody's creepy, like in an ick kind of way, not a spooky kind of way. The coach watching the gymnast licking his lip. It was just like, this is just awful. And you're right. As you mentioned, everyone has to go through this. I'm like, they rented one park and did the whole thing in one park because everyone had to be on the same path every single time. But, they were wearing tube socks with strut. Like there were things that feathered hair, the hair was very, I don't know. There were parts of it that kind of made me smile, but most of it's just a mess. I didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie. I was frustrated by it. It just got worse the further it went along. Did you have some things you didn't like?
Well, I only wrote one thing down while I was watching it, and the word is gratuitous. And then you were talking about all the guys, and it's true. They all are, for the most part, terrible. And it's obviously a film geared towards males, young males, is who
Yes.
they were targeting for this film. And all the guys in it are dumbasses, right?
It's not who
Or
you want your Yeah,
weird
and
or
the girls
icky
aren't
or
angels, obviously, but for multiple reasons, high school girls shouldn't be manipulating teachers so easily, for one thing. And I don't know, there weren't many the most likable character I think died in the first minute. I don't think that there was really anyone that was very likable in the whole thing.
and they did. As you were talking, I remember they did do a good job of kind of like throwing lots of. Well, it could be this person. It could be this person. Who everybody has a sweatsuit and black gloves and a stopwatch, Karen.
Yes.
Everybody in this film owns
In the
those three
drawer
things.
or in their suitcase or something. Yes.
And that's the only way we know the killer. except for like a fencing foil and a mask, but can't put that in your drawer or your carry-on luggage.
Well, it was easily available.
It was.
It's pretty bougie school for 1981 to have fencing, gymnastics, all these different sports.
As well, it's California,
Oh, well, there.
obviously. I mean, they started filming in December, and it's pretty nice outside for December, I would
True.
say. They're running track and doing pole vaults,
Well, and that's the other thing.
and
And
it's you're supposed to believe it's like June or May, right?
this is
Because it's almost graduation.
nitpicky is cross country season's in the fall, and they're supposed to be taking their cross country picture, but at the end of the year. So that's not the right, football is in the fall, not in the
Right.
spring. Like there are just some things that are,
Gymnastics is a winter sport.
well, that I don't know, but
I'm pretty sure it's in the Winter Olympics. Or
well, no, I think it's in the summer,
is
isn't
it?
it? I think figure
Maybe it
skating
is.
is winter.
But it's an indoor sport, so.
I don't know when gymnastics is, but I do know.
At one point, I was
And
wondering,
all the
why is there
kids,
a gymnast? I'm like,
there's only
oh,
one.
she's on the track team, I guess. And the football player, oh, he's also on the track team. What else did you do besides run track, Karen?
Cross country because it's a different season.
Oh, okay. Music was terrible. If I'm going to go on about things I didn't like, there was
Well, and
one song which was okay.
the kids are all, everybody's an asshole in it. The adults are asshole. The kids are like, everyone is just, it's just irreverent, I guess. And maybe that had an appeal, but not to me now, which granted, I'm old. So maybe my kids might have thought it was funny or something. I'm looking back on it as a mature adult, and I saw no appeal to this movie. But as you said, it's not marketed to me at all. So,
And you mentioned earlier you didn't know if it went like direct to video or whatever. It went to the theaters, Karen, and it did very well.
well, there you go.
If you compare budget to what it made, wow. I'm surprised there's not a whole like uh thing like a
Cult following.
yeah, like a they didn't make sequels and whatnot and
Oh, well,
like it's
everybody's
like it's not a
dead.
franchise. Yeah, true. So the budget was $250,000 in 1981, which isn't a small amount.
No, but there's no stars in it.
No. Well, I recognize two people. Probably. Well, I know the woman I probably recognize from Magnum PI because I looked up for what she's done. So, and it made almost $24 million, Karen.
Wow. It's amazing. See, I think it's perspective. This may have been, but I didn't feel this way. I mean, Friday the 13th and all those, and Halloween, yeah, they had but this whole thing was their bad moments, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like this was a movie made up of just, it,
Outtakes.
well, not even that, just bad parts of the movie where when we look back at it now, we go, ugh, and this was just full of it. Those had more of a story, I guess. I don't know. I think distance did this one in for me. I'd be interested if younger people watched it, if they had the same reaction. I really was off put by the men and how they're portrayed and how the kids are portrayed too. And like the principals, like it was funny because maybe if I wasn't a parent and the parents are calling the principal and he's like, why are they worried that they were out all night and didn't tell them? I mean, we were out, but we weren't out all night, and they thought we were home, even if we weren't. But we didn't just not show up. And then our parents would have been worried if we never came home like that. And he's trying to pass it off like it's nothing. And I'm like, I understand it was a different time, but it wasn't that different.
Oh, no.
You may have come home and gone out the window, but you came home and they thought you were there, you
Yes.
know.
And when I read that made like almost 24 million, I was surprised that I had never heard of it before.
Yeah, because that was like, we would have definitely been going to the movies, you know?
I don't know if we've been able to
Although,
get into this
yeah,
film, but
maybe we wouldn't have been able to. You're right.
it's 18 plus. We weren't 18 least on Amazon, it's 18 plus,
So it
which
was probably R.
probably are.
But somehow we saw, was Friday the 13th not R? Had to be.
Mm.
Maybe I didn't see that till I was older. Maybe I didn't see these movies in high school, I guess. I thought I did see some of them. I don't know.
Maybe they weren't
Security at the
checking
movie.
IDs.
Yeah, security at the movies was probably a little loosey-goosey.
But Karen, I tried to get into the movies to see The Road Warrior with Mel Gibson. Me and someone you know very well tried to go see this movie, and we were denied access because we weren't of age.
Might depend on who's doing the tickets.
It's the only time it ever happened to me where I could not go in to see a movie, and it was for The Road Warrior. Seriously? All that post-apocalyptic violence, Karen.
Coming soon.
And I said the music was terrible, so I decided to like, hey, so this was filmed beginning in December of 1980. So what was the Hot 100 in November of 1980?
I don't know whose kids were in the band, but that was way too long. Those kids singing. I don't know how
I
that,
might have a note about that in my
I think their
in the
new
notes.
age must have been coming in because they were kind of
Well, the
new
number one
agey.
song, Karen, was Lady by Kenny Rogers, and Woman in Love by Barbara Streisand was number two. But you get down to number four and you come to Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. You got Master Blaster Jammin' by Stevie Wonder at number seven. You have Just Like Starting Over by John Lennon at number nine. But it shot up the next month, Karen, because of course he was shot and killed in December. Daryl Hall and John Oates, You've Lost That Love and Feeling was 13, followed by number 14, Whip It by Devo. So there was some of that
It's a
new
mix.
wave
Yeah.
coming in there. So The Police at number 30 with Dee Doo 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 Dee Da Da Da. Turning Japanese by the Vapors at number 37. This is the last one I'll read you. At number 43, Karen, You Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC.
There you go.
Number 43. And it was in its 12th week on the chart, so but it was fallen by that time. So we're just curious. All right, anything else before we move on?
I think
Anything you
we've
didn't
probably said
like?
enough.
Anything you liked? Anything you like you forgot about?
Well, the special effects are horrible.
Oh yeah, I didn't say that either. The blood is bad.
Blood is bad.
It's not quite hammer blood, but the special effects we see, they're not
Again, looking, I
they're
mean,
not terrible.
are we
But
being fair? Because are they special effects that were with the times in 1981? Maybe.
like when the
Look,
first girl gets her throat cut, it's that is
it's,
basically nothing.
yeah,
The other things, they're a little better.
yeah. But looking back now, they're not great. And the blood's terrible. But, you know, they do add some variety. Like everybody's not killed in the same way, really. And so there is that.
All right. What kind of cocktail rating do you want to give this film, Karen?
The tough one.
Is it?
Well, it's at least a four. I'm actually considering a five, but I guess it's a four.
It's a four?
It's terrible.
But you have a young Linnea Quigley and a young Vanna White, even though you don't see much of her.
You really think it's better than a four?
You've shamed me, Karen.
I think we've given way better films than this threes.
We have. I agree. Damn
So
it. All right. Four
it is,
cocktails.
it is what it is. It's a slasher movie, but
But
it's
if
just
we
a,
had seen it in 1981,
but we didn't.
but we didn't. So this was the first time
This
us
is
seeing
not
Linnea Quigley's breasts.
10-year-old me reviewing it. This is old me reviewing it.
This is the first time saying, "Oh, that's Vanna White," when no one who knew who Vanna White was in
True.
1981.
Well, I'm sure. Wasn't Wheel of Fortune on then?
No,
Well, it's getting close, though.
close. I was thinking about this earlier. She really had a pretty quick rise to fame. Like this is 1981, and by 1987, like
Playboy was buying her nudie pictures to publish, so
Yeah, and all I noticed about her in this film was she was tall.
and her hair was dark.
Well, much taller than the gymnast, which makes sense.
All right. I guess we'll go 4 cocktails, boys and girls, which means it took us 4 cocktails to get through this film.
I thought it was a rough one, but let us know if you like it better than we did. I'll stand corrected. Just wasn't for me. That doesn't mean it's not for you.
Well, you weren't the audience, Karen.
Exactly. So,
It was a young male was the target audience.
a young
Obvious
male
by
in
all the
1981.
Yeah, obvious by all of the butt shots and whatnot. Even dead women, they're butt shots.
Yep. Hence the 4 from me.
All right. After saying all that, I have to tend to agree. 4 cocktails. All right. Would you like to hear a review, Karen?
I would love to.
Could not find one from the time. Surprising, especially if it made $24 million. But first, Karen, I have to tell you, this has a 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb, a 57% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think Google users think of this film?
68%.
75, Karen, 75. You were going the right direction, but not enough. The review I have is from a website called criticsden.com. And I believe it's from when probably the, I don't know, DVD was released, maybe the Blu-ray 2019. I don't know how long Blu-rays have been around. And it's by a critic named Pat ML. Sometimes it's easy to forget what slasher films really are. Murder mysteries with a healthy dose of on-screen bloody killing. It's how these slasher films are shot, the acting, and the background noise and music that turn some of these bloody murder mystery films into real horror films. This is the problem that Graduation Day runs into. It barely even tries to make that jump into horror. Graduation Day begins with the accidental death of Laura as her team and the crowd look on in horror. Fast forward 2 months, and it's the eve of graduation for the school, and the members of the track team are being murdered one by one as the film tosses blatantly obvious red herrings at the audience to keep them guessing about who the killer is. But no one knows these students have been killed until the last quarter of the film. Parents and teachers just think the kids are out raising hell like teens do when they are about to be released from high school. So there's no dread for the cast that comes with the knowledge that there's a killer on the loose. Usually, a slasher film can deal with unawareness by the characters by injecting, at the very least, an eerie soundtrack into the film so at least the audience feels some tension in the stalking scenes. But Graduation Day doesn't even give us that. It gives us disco music, the least eerie music in history. I'm not saying Graduation Day isn't worth a watch. It may not be so bad that it's good, but it is at least entertainingly bad. Who knows what it could have been if the producers were clued in that they were supposed to be creating a horror film. And that is true, which I didn't even think about until I read that. I'm like, oh yeah. No one was saying, oh my God, there's a killer.
Right. It's true. I missed that point, but it's true.
Don't go out alone. Don't walk
Lock
through the
windows
woods.
and the doors. Don't go out on the moors.
All right. Before we get into it scene by scene, Karen, would you like to know is it my choice already again?
Yes, tell us what you've picked for next week.
Film I have chosen, Karen, is from 1964. A Hammer film, Karen.
Oh my God.
Called The Gorgon.
Because
it's a Hammer film, Karen, and I'm trying to get through them.
I think you're trying to get through all these, and when we're done, you're going to stop. It's my suspicion. Do you have a drink to go with it?
I do. The drink I have is called the Medusa.
Ooh, I like that.
We're going to need 1/3 ounce peach schnapps 1/3 ounce lime juice, a third ounce white rum, lemonade, grenadine, whiskey, or a third of ounce of whiskey, and a third of ounce blue curacao.
Okay, I think I have those things, except maybe the lemonade. Could you tell us how to put it together?
So we're going to add the whiskey, white rum, blue curacao, peach schnapps, freshly squeezed lime juice, and grenadine, just a teaspoon of grenadine, into a cocktail shaker half filled with ice. We're going to shake for 10 seconds, Karen. 10 seconds.
Oh my
No
God. The
more,
pressure.
no less. Then we're going to pour into a glass 3/4 filled with crushed ice and top off with the lemonade. Then we're going to garnish with twists of lime rind and serve if you're fancy, which would
Wow.
be the Medusa thing, I guess, because it's a
Yeah,
lime
there you
rind,
go.
curly green thing. So there you go. The Medusa.
Okay. Is there a Hammer Glamour girl in it?
I'm sure there is, Karen. Maybe two,
Nice.
because I'm sure we have one that's the Gorgon and regular too. She probably switches. Don't know though. We'll see. We can hope. There's always a Hammer Glamour girl, Karen. Always. All right. Are you ready to get into it scene by scene?
Yep, let's go.
All right. Graduation Day from 1981, rated 18 plus. It has flashing lights, nudity, violence, substance use, alcohol use, smoking, foul language, and sexual content, Karen. All the good
Mine said
stuff.
nudity too.
Well, I said nudity.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Flashing lights, nudity, violence. Yeah.
Sorry. You think we're going to win? Bullseye. What could possibly go wrong?
Credits start, and I wrote, it's a trauma team release, which for some reason was very familiar to me.
Hmm.
And then the next thing I wrote is, it's old because it's square. The image is a square image, like
Okay.
you would see on Instagram, not, like a wide shot or anything. What would fit on your TV in 1981?
Yes.
And apparently we're at a track meet and we have credits.
Yeah, the gun goes off. They're running hurdles, shot put, like feathered hair, shorty shorts, tube socks. I said track meets aren't like this. No one goes to those. Not in the 80s anyway.
Yeah, I wrote early's 80s music. Next thing I wrote is there's lots of people at these track meets.
And
Don't
it's
know what
not an
your
ash
experience
track. It might
was,
be
but
dirt, but it's not ash. There used to, but it's not the what you all run on now, those soft, squishy tracks.
look at you with all that inside information.
It's dirt. So they're wearing cleats and stuff.
And then all of a sudden we see a gymnast on
Yeah.
it's not the parallel, it's the uneven bars, right?
Yes.
For some reason. I didn't understand at the time.
I still don't understand, but whatever.
She's a member of the track team.
But that's not part of the track meet.
No, it's not.
So why isn't
That's why
she out
she's
at
in
the,
it.
but why isn't she at the track meet? Why is she doing her gymnastics?
I don't know. Then we see a couple kissy facing in their track uniforms. And then I wrote, ooh, they're wearing New Balance shoes. There's a close up of someone at the starting gate or whatever they call it, wearing New Balance shoes. And then we see a coach yelling at who we learn is Laura. She's running, but she's winning. And all the kids there in the stands are chanting her name.
Yeah, he wants her under 30 seconds. So
So what is she running?
I couldn't tell. I didn't pay attention to where she started, and I didn't go back and see, but I'm guessing it's the 200 meter race.
Okay.
We used to call it 220. And then I looked it up, and 30 seconds, which is what he wanted her under, is considered a good time for a woman, particularly if you're not training competitively. So she's, a high schooler. So elite women would run between 21 and 23 seconds, and 10 to 12-year-olds would go 30 to 37 seconds. So I'm guessing it's the 200, because that would be really slow for the 100, but it would be so incredibly fast for the quarter mile. So I'm guessing the 200.
Okay.
But I'm like, they're going to catch her.
But Laura crosses the finish line first, She wins, and then she collapses, and I wrote it. Don't look good for Laura. Laura dies. Then we cut to, I guess, a truck driver driving a female naval officer, and the truck driver comes onto her, and she almost strangles him with his neck scarf, Karen.
Yes.
And then they drive into town right underneath a happy graduation day banner.
There is one thing I want to mention because I think it's important that hopefully I'll remember later if I don't have too much Diploma Paloma by then. They start talking about lesbians in the naval, I don't want to say academy, in the Navy.
Yeah, the truck driver does.
Yes. And he's like, apparently there was some big article about it and whatever. And so he's bringing it up. And if I remember, it's, I think, part of a red herring for us. But she's a tough chick. She, chokes him and threatens him.
Then pulling a town female officer gets out of the truck, and she watches a girl running.
She didn't have any luggage, but she does later.
And the girl running is wearing big old clamshell headphones, Karen, listening to the radio, I guess.
You never run with both ears covered.
Well, not now.
Well, we didn't then either.
Then
you should have one ear listening to what you're listening, either radio, whatever. You should have one ear open for what's around you. Cars. I mean, not just for dangerous things, but cars. People on bicycles will sometimes say, on your left or right, so you can hear what's going on around you.
And we see a person with a stopwatch wearing black gloves. Apparently the person follows the girl who is running, grabs her by the back of the head, and slashes her throat at the 30-second mark on the stopwatch question mark I wrote. So 30 seconds is important, apparently.
Yeah. Greg and I are both so excited that you're listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, and we would love to hear from you. Do you have a movie suggestion for us? Or possibly a favorite drink you'd like us to try? Or maybe you just want to say hi. If so, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show. We used to play with we all had stopwatches. We would time. I did. We used to time each other running around the house and stuff like that. I mean, they were probably cheap, but anyway, I guess Greg didn't.
I didn't have anyone to time me, or I didn't have anyone to time, Karen.
The other thing I noticed in this, because again, it goes back to you saying it was for young men. There are so many butt shots in this movie.
Yeah, that's when I wrote that.
Following
when she
the girl
falls
running
down, that's the first time I wrote it.
Yeah.
She gets her throat slashed. She falls down. We see a shot of her body, starts at her feet, and then goes up to her butt and hesitates, and that's where it ends.
I said, then we get a close-up of the girl's butt for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Whatever. So then we have early 80s hair metal playing, I guess, is what it is. And we see graduates in their cap and gowns signing each other's yearbooks and whatnot, I guess.
Okay, so I have a lot of information about graduation. I'm just going to do it here because they're in their caps and gowns, right?
Is it because you have a graduate, Karen, now?
No. I should ask him if he knows any of these important information.
Yeah, bring him. Call him right now, Karen.
Let's see. The cap and gown tradition dates back to the Middle Ages, reflecting the attire of university staff and clergy. The tassel on the mortarboard was traditionally moved from the right side to the left side after receiving the diploma, which they still do.
Why is it called a mortarboard?
Because...
Are they all like
it's
patch and drywall?
Well, it's because it originated with headgear worn by church dignitaries in the 16th century. Though the style has been greatly modified over the years, the caps are called mortar boards because their resemblance to a masonry tool of the same name.
Okay.
The tassel was added in the 19th century. In the 1300s, scholars and clerics at European universities would wear long robes to stay warm and comfortable in the largely unheated buildings. So that's why they wear those. Diplomas were the Romans used them as validation of a soldier's time served, and were written on animal skin. I think sheepskin, they said.
Papyrus.
That came later, but
Okay.
sheepskin first. And they used to roll them up and tie them with ribbon. The diplomas, they stopped doing that when people complained they couldn't frame them, apparently. So the kids are all acting like,
But in this film, he has them rolled up and tied with
yes,
ribbon.
they usually do in films because it looks
Okay.
more like a diploma. That's what people think, but you get a flat piece of paper, as most of you probably know. So if you had to guess, Greg, in the 21 to 22 high school season, what percentage of kids average graduate?
21 to 22.
Well, like that's where my statistic comes from.
2021 to
Yeah,
2022. How many kids graduate? Graduate like on time or just graduate, period?
just says for public high school students. I will tell you in 2010 to 11, it was 80%.
That's about what I was thinking. 85%.
Very good. It's 87.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. College graduation, only 62% of students who start a degree finish. And women are now more likely than men to graduate from college. So
Well,
go, girl.
I'm part of the 38 because I'm a man.
I'm part of the women that graduated. You go, girls.
But I've done okay. So
Yes. That does not really impact your future that much. Well, it can, but
it can.
don't be upset if you don't go to
Yeah.
college.
I thought about going back for a while, but then it just got to the point where it's too late in the game. What's the point? What's the benefit?
It's the next chapter. You can go and do something else.
All
All right. So, butt shot, kids being raucous I think they're practicing for the ceremony.
Not yet, I don't think. But they might. I don't know what they're doing. So then we meet the track coach, or we see the track coach, and I guess they're taking a photograph of the track team for the newspaper.
They call it the cross country team, though, but it's the track team.
Okay, well, I called it track team. But they don't want to take it without Paula. We can't possibly take the photo without Paula, who I guess was the girl that was killed we just saw.
In the woods, yes.
Yeah, but coach insists.
He's a butthole and he just says, we're doing it.
So then the female naval officer, who we learn is Anne, comes home. And apparently mom is remarried. She has a stepdad, and stepdad don't like Anne, Karen.
They do not get along. But again, here's another thing where, and I know we've mentioned this before, she goes home, she rings the doorbell and waits for someone to answer the door.
I know, right?
I still don't do that. I mean,
don't do that. Well, I never did that. Ever.
I walk into my dad's house now, but I yell when I'm walking in, Dad, it's Karen. But I don't knock on the door and wait for him to answer.
No, I never did. Anne goes to Laura's room because apparently her room has been turned into a dark room by stepdad. He's a photographer, Karen.
Those a-hole photographers.
And apparently I wrote Anne is the beneficiary on Laura's life insurance policy, which never comes up again. But
no, I thought that was going to go somewhere. She gets some sort of trophy.
Might be motive because.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Well, no, but not to kill her sister. Yeah, it's weird.
Later she unpacks and she has black gloves and a gray sweatsuit, Karen.
She does. So when she goes into Laura's room, it's supposed to be a typical high school.
Yeah, 1980s, 1980, 81.
I definitely saw Andy Gibb, Leif Garrett, and maybe Scott Baio. There's a Bee Gees poster.
Yeah.
So
All I
Greg,
wrote is the Bee Gees.
1981. Who do you think was the most popular teen idol in 1981?
Wow.
Because, I'm sure you were aware. But the funny thing
was it Christy McNichol?
Maybe
was it Cheryl Ladd? I don't know.
Farrah Fawcett. I'm talking. So the funny thing is if you've listened to this podcast, everyone knows if you've listened that I was going to marry Sean Cassidy. But I was also 13 years old when I had Sean Cassidy on my wall. I did not have that stuff up when I was in high school. Anyway, In 1981, it was Rick Springfield was arguably the most popular teen idol. He achieved widespread fame through his role as Dr. Noah Drake on General Hospital, which I never watched, but you did, right? And
No.
massive, oh, sorry. And
Guiding
the,
Light.
oh, me too. The massive success of his hit song, Jesse's Girl. He was 32 years old
He's
then.
old.
He still looks good, though.
I know, but
But I'm saying to be a teen idol in 1981, he was
you don't
30.
look quite right, though. So,
Well,
I don't know.
but well, I haven't seen him in quite a while, but he did a guest spot on Supernatural that I saw, and he still looked pretty good, considering,
He still tours. I mean,
you know,
you can go see him
anyway,
in concert.
he's no Sean Cassidy, but whatever.
I'd be willing to guess that Sean Cassidy has aged better, too. Probably. I haven't seen a photo of him recently, but
He looks okay.
yeah, I've seen photos of him not that long ago. But all right.
But we see
Then,
the sweatshirt and the gloves when she's
yeah.
unpacking.
And then Dad comes in and confronts Anne, but she puts him in his place. I wrote she has black gloves. And then Anne drops a picture of the track team and breaks it, and the camera zooms in on Paula. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, and
The girl who was just killed.
he actually calls her a self-centered bitch and calls her a bitch a couple times. It's just not, I don't know. Not that that doesn't happen. Sure it does, but it just right away.
But come on, Mom. Really?
But we don't really know what the backs. I mean, they just don't like each other. Was there some assault or something, or I don't know? It because the mom's a milk toast and the dad's a drunk, and it's just ugly.
Then we see a gloved person wearing gray sweats enter a locker room, and we see the same photo of the track team, and whoever it is puts an X through Paula's face in lipstick.
Yes.
Then we cut to Sally, apparently, walking through the woods in her blue V-neck sweater, Karen. Anne stops her and asks her for directions to the auditorium. And I wrote right here, Anne is creepy.
She's very creepy. We do see someone's watching Sally in the woods too, or at least our perspective is that.
Before we see Anne
Yes.
talking to her. And I wrote, Anne is not wearing black gloves right now, though. So then we cut back to all the graduates there having commencement practice.
Oh, that's where they're a bunch of hooligans.
And they don't give the principal any respect, I wrote.
No.
And the poster says, there's like 201 graduates.
Oh, and there's about 12
Yeah, hang on. I'm pulling it up right now.
that showed up for practice.
There are 200 seniors at Midvale High and 7 days till graduation. Yeah, there's like maybe 20.
Maybe a baker's dozen. But
I don't know. So then Anne
and they're the same kids that are in every scene.
every
Everywhere.
scene.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Yeah. Anne enters, and then the principal tells them that the Monsignor is going to say the benediction, Karen. And we know what a Monsignor is now
Yes.
from last week before last. I don't remember. Week before last. No, last week. Right? Dracula's vision from the grave. The Monsignor. And then
Yes, it was. Yes.
Then the principal introduces Laura's sister, Anne, to the kids, but apparently Anne wants to meet Kevin.
Well, and so
wants to talk
Sally
to him.
goes, "Oh, that's the weird chick from," like she tells her friends, "That's the weird lady," and then they say who it is, and she recognizes Kevin because he wrote her a letter or something.
Well, his pictures are all over Laura's room.
True, but she is very handsy with him. I thought throughout this whole thing, touching his arm,
He
and
was, yeah.
I don't know, it's weird.
So she wants to go meet him later or whatever, talk. So then we see Anne walking into a house. I wasn't sure. I was assuming it was Kevin's house, but she doesn't wait for anyone to answer the door there, Karen.
I
She
know,
just walks
she's-
right in.
Just it's funny.
And she looks through a photo album of Laura collapsing.
It's a sequence of photos of Laura running because she
Like on a
collapses
time
after
thing.
she
They
wins.
hit
Yeah.
the timer and it goes like every second or something, Karen.
Yeah.
Is that
So
how
it shows her
works?
win and fall. And,
And then we see crazy grandma Kevin comes downstairs. And I wrote, Kevin looks like he's about 25, but he's probably closer to 30.
He looks 30 years old. And they meet, and the house is weird. Like somebody's an artist or something, because there's a bunch of just weird stuff everywhere.
Yeah, I didn't make a
Naked
note here, but I do
statues and
later.
yeah, just bizarre stuff.
Anne gives Kevin Laura's graduation present. I don't know why. She says, I was going to give this to Laura, but here, I want you to have it. Anne leaves, and then I wrote,
It's a necklace with a runner on it.
I thought she wanted to talk to him. She didn't
Yeah.
talk to him at all. She doesn't here, take this, and left. More or less. So then we cut to Sally again with her blue V-neck sweater and skirt in the locker room, and she undresses Karen. We see two bare breasts, and she
I
gets
say-
into her gymnastics uniform.
Bad music playing. Oh, is she going to shower? No. So, okay. So while she's changing, you see someone watching her and there's heavy breathing. Okay. And that was what swings back to the conversation of the truck driver with Anne about the lesbians in the Navy. Because whoever's watching her change is getting excited by watching her change because their breathing is increasing and getting heavier.
Okay.
So you're like, oh, is it Anne or is it someone else?
So then the lights turn out, and I wrote, two girls scare Sally. Door closes behind them in the background, I think. Sally opens the door, and it's another locker room.
I just said, they're just making fun of her, saying she's calling Sally nuts. And I'm like, these people, they're terrible. Bad acting is what I wrote.
And the photographer from the paper is there to take pictures of Sally. Coach makes her do her routine on the parallel or the uneven bars or whatever they are.
And the photographer says something creepy. And then while she fights with the coach, they go back and forth. She's not up to it. He's like, do it. And then while she is, he's like licking his lips. It's just gross. But she has a very athletic body. And I think she's doing at least
She looks like she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, most of the tricks
I
on
think
the
she's doing
uneven
all
bar.
of it.
I couldn't tell for sure, but she's doing at least most of it.
Sally doesn't hit her landing, though, and the coach gives her a hard time.
She didn't stick it.
She does the routine again in slow motion, Karen. Photographer
Yeah.
taking photos. Then we cut to the track team photo, and Sally's face is X'd out in lipstick. Cut back to her in her routine. She fails to nail the landing again, and coach is not happy. Then we cut to Sally in the locker room shaving her legs, Karen. Did you do that in the locker room at school?
No. I was thinking, I said, wouldn't she have shaved her legs for the picture?
Using
Using what my dad used. What do you
Right.
call those?
I don't know.
They're not straight edges. What are
No,
they?
they're sanitary razors or something like that. They call them or something.
But they're not disposable.
No,
So
it's
you
like
would,
a blade. You change the blade in it.
yeah, and it was a metal. Yeah. I don't. It'll come to me at 2
the
a.m.
British steel blade. If anyone, boys
I
and
will
girls.
tell you, I would
Judas
use
Priest.
my
Judas-
dad. Yes, there you
British
go.
steel, the razor blade.
If I used his razor, I would hear him yell in the morning because it would be dull. He would be mad at me.
Then Sally is attacked by someone in a fencing uniform, and she is stabbed through the neck. She gone.
Okay, hold on. Are swords used in high school fencing competitions sharp? No, they are not.
They're fencing foils.
They are designed to be training tools and sport simulators, not weapons. While a broken blade could potentially cause injuries, fencers wear protective, whatever. So, fencing blades are made of flexible steel and are designed for a specific blade geometry and thickness. They have a blunt blade and are not intended to be sharpened. The tip of foil and epi blades in electric fencing has a button that registers a hit. There are 3 types of swords. Do you know what they are?
I didn't think they had electric ones in 1981, but no,
No,
I don't.
I'm just
I know.
jumping to the future, but yes, no, they don't. They're called the foil, the epi, and the saber. Each weapon has different rules, techniques, and valid target areas. Not that they don't fence in this movie, but as soon as they pull the fencing sword out of the locker, I'm like, I don't think those are supposed to be sharp. And they are not.
They're not. That would be dangerous. because the goal is to stab your opponent in the heart, Karen.
Yes.
All right. So then we cut to, I guess we're in the band room, Karen. It looked like a band room. I've spent a lot of time in band rooms in my day, and it looked like a band room to
I
me.
thought it was the wood shop area. Am I ahead?
No, and we have the girls falling all over Mr. Roberts, who
Oh,
is
yes.
apparently the band teacher playing the piano.
Yes, it's the band room.
Because he's a professional performing musician, and
And
all the girls
he's,
are like, "Ooh!"
I know, but he's such a dork and he's acting like a dork. He overacted
in his
horribly.
leisure suit,
Yes. And his big gut, and they're all falling all over him.
big gut and
Because
big
that's what high
followers.
schoolers would do.
But Dolores enters, and apparently she's going to fail band, Karen, and you can't have that on your report card, especially if it's going to prevent you from graduating. So
Yeah, she has to go to summer school, he says.
she seduces Mr. Roberts. Let me
Well,
see.
she's like, I'm gonna pass, and I'm like, oh, this is stupid.
Let
But
me
she
see.
locks the door so no one comes in, and she takes off her top.
Two more bare breasts, Karen. Then we cut to the principal and his blonde secretary, and he has a cassette tape of some letters that he has dictated, and he wants her to type them up that evening and gives her a whole list of people they need to be sent to and
And they
whatnot.
all have to be different,
Yeah.
changed. He calls her Blondie.
And she's not happy, but he offers to come by later with a bottle of wine after she is finished. And she's huffy at first, but then she says, "All right, come around midnight."
And he's gross too. Like it's like that. It's like, anyway,
Then we see the principal has a switchblade, Karen.
to eat his apple that's on his
Yeah, he
desk.
cuts an apple with it and then he puts it in his desk along with all his other knives that apparently he's collected from the kids. Then we cut to Mr. Roberts, the band director, singing. And right here I wrote, all the men are wearing leisure suits.
Yes, and necklaces.
And Mr. Roberts meets the track coach and asks him if he heard a tapping noise. He's heard a noise and he's looking for it. Mr. Robert enters I guess I didn't know what else to call it, the utilities, the facilities,
The
the
boiler room.
boiler room, whatever.
I guess every high school has a boiler room. I still don't know where ours was.
I do. Then someone plays it was in the band hall, Karen.
See,
You
that's why I
stood
didn't
right
know.
outside the door many times, as I remember. Someone plays a tape recording of Mr. Roberts with a girl.
With the girl with Dolores.
I guess it's
Yeah.
Dolores. I don't know. But then we cut to Dolores with a younger kid, another
Okay,
guy.
so he doesn't seem all that. He's just like, get out of here. I know, like, he doesn't seem upset that they have a recording of what
I
went
know who
on.
you are. Don't think I don't.
Right. And
He
that,
has
but
no idea.
you're thinking that would be a very bad thing. And he's just like, meh. And then we cut away from it.
Dolores is smoking a joint with a guy, I guess, in the woods that everyone has to walk through every day. And Dolores starts feeling frisky, Karen.
Yeah, I guess Mr. Whoever didn't satisfy her.
And I wrote the security guard catches them, but then he says he's a police officer, so I guess he's a cop. I don't know. And he tells them, "Don't let me catch you smoking dope on school grounds anymore." But of course, the kids don't respect him.
No, they make fun of him. I think well, I don't know. We didn't have a officer for our school, so I don't know. They do now.
A detail officer. So then we see the cop smoking a tiny joint, Karen. It's the smallest joint I've ever seen in my life. Then we see someone dressed similar to Anne entering the wood shop. And I wrote, "Oh, it is Anne."
We have the anklet under the pantyhose.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't notice.
And the coach's name is George Michaels.
Michaels, yes. Then the machines in the shop turn on and some of them spark.
And
George,
we have shots of her butt as she walks in there. I started noticing
okay.
more butt shots.
George Michaels enters, who is also the track coach. He's the shop
Or George
teacher.
Michael, I think. I don't think
George
whatever.
Michaels. It's Michaels.
Okay.
He's the shop teacher and the track coach. Enters and turns off the machines, and Anne tells him he pushed Laura too far. And then ominously she says, "We'll meet again."
We do find out that she had a brain clot or something And he says, it's not my fault. Yes, I did push her. I wanted her to perform her best. I push all the kids. He's giving his explanation of what he did. And I don't know if it was an aneurysm or a blood clot or something, but they tell us how she died. But yes, then the ominous, we'll meet again. And she leaves.
Then we see a football player jogging through the woods that everyone has to go through to get to school, juggling his football. Two girls take it away from him.
Same girls that were in the
and
locker
play
room.
keep away. And I wrote, same two girl we've seen twice now.
Yep.
They throw his ball into the woods. Killer ends up with the ball in the woods, and he now has a sword coming out of it. So I guess he puts the sword through it. Throws the ball at the football player, stabbing him in the stomach. And again, we see the stopwatch. 30 seconds, I guess. And we're Xing out another member of the track team in the photo. The football player, I guess. Then we cut to the kids singing a song, Karen.
Like the fame part of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. In the cafeteria, they're singing the blues.
Yeah, the graduation day blues, Karen, and Kevin plays the harmonica. And this song's not bad. I kind of like this song. Just a kid playing the guitar and Kevin with the harmonica. Then we cut to, I guess a girl comes up to Coach Michaels and says
One
she's
thing I did,
sorry.
wait, stop. There was a 110 camera. You remember those skinny cameras?
Yeah.
They were taking pictures
The
with that.
newspaper photographer.
It was pretty funny.
So then we saw, that wouldn't have been the newspaper photographer.
No.
It would have been someone else.
Just like the skinny.
I had a 110.
Yeah,
So then we see a girl telling Coach Michaels she's sorry and kisses him on the cheek and leaves. Cop comes up and tells Coach he can hurt him bad if he puts his mind to it. Guess because he saw the girl kissing him. And then we cut to a concert at a roller rink, ? I wrote. But not everyone is wearing roller skates. There's some disco dancing going on too.
Some terrible dancing. Ooh, let's do some dance moves.
But I'll never forget the name of this song is Gangster Rock, Karen. It was ingrained in my brain. Cut to Dolores and a guy in the woods. The same guy, I guess, that was smoking a joint with her. He has
After
to
he
use
did
the
his dance
bathroom.
moves.
He has to use the bathroom, and the killer decapitates him. Dolores goes to check on him, and a person wearing sweats and a fencing mask chase her. Next thing I wrote is, how long is this song?
Whose kids are these? How'd they get this role? It's way too long.
Killer chases Dolores. Two more bare breasts, but two we've already seen.
Because her shirt flies open.
Killer slices her with a sword. She gone.
Yeah, she didn't run towards the party. I don't know where she was going.
Cut to the principal talking to the parents of the kids who are missing on the phone. And apparently we learn that all the kids who are missing are members from the track team.
And he doesn't want to talk to any of them, but his secretary, who he calls Blondie, keeps putting him through.
She is credited on the poster as Blondie. Inspector comes to see the principal. He thinks the kids are just out raising hell, or they both do. The inspector doesn't seem too worried for some reason. Then we cut to a pole vaulter, Karen, practicing. And I was like, wow, this guy's serious. Look at those calves. And he jumps the pole there, and then he falls down onto the pads, and he is impaled by spikes that are under the pads. And then I wrote, Coach Michaels has been fired, ? Oh, no. Inspector goes to see him. The coach is packing up his things. He has black gloves and a stopwatch, Karen. He's packing them up. Two girls we've already seen like 3 times enter a locker room, and they find the body of Sally in her locker. Quick shot of Coach Michaels.
That's where this is where I go, oh, that is Vanna White. So it took me this long to notice it's Vanna White there.
Fencing sword in the locker, I wrote. Kevin enters and confronts him. Coach Michaels, I guess. The two girls run away. Kevin and Coach Michael fight. Inspector and Ann enter the locker room. Kevin tells Ann to go after Coach Michaels.
Yeah, because Coach gets away, runs away.
Then we cut to a photo of the track team with all the faces crossed out except for Kevin.
So she's again inappropriate with him. Like, oh, did he hurt you? Is your like she's just it's weird. Anyway, yeah.
Coach Michaels runs away. Kevin chases him, even though he tells Anne to go after her. I don't know. Cut to
And I'm like, and of
Kevin.
course Kevin knows exactly where he ran. He could have run
Yeah,
in any direction, but
he
he
went to the
knows.
woods where everyone has to go, Karen.
Yes.
And then I wrote, somehow Anne is there and the inspector. Then inspector asks Anne who she is. And
I think
Kevin,
the coach falls and hurts his ankle.
yeah, Coach Michaels and Kevin stumble upon the dead football player. And that's all it takes for Kevin to spill his guts. He's the
Yep.
killer.
Here's the Batman moment.
And Coach bitch slaps him, I wrote. And then Kevin says Laura and he were going to be married the day
Right
right after
after
graduation. And
right after graduation.
Kevin and Coach Michaels struggle. Inspector arrives and shoots Coach Michaels,
Yeah, because
thinking he's
coach
the aggressor, I guess.
knocks Kevin over and Kevin has a knife and the coach picks up the knife to take it away from him and that's when the inspector arrives. So it does look like the coach is the aggressor.
Inspector asks Kevin to come to the station to make a statement. Cut to Anne going to the principal's office, and she asks for Laura's trophy from Blondie. Blondie says that Kevin picked it up that morning and said that she asked him to.
And he's not the kind of boy that would lie, is he? Because there's still about, I don't know, 20 minutes left at this point. So
I don't know if it's that many, but it's
there
a
was still,
while.
it's a while. So okay, it's not ending where Kevin gets away with it because coach is killed. Everybody thinks, okay, all wrapped up. So right here, there's like, no, something's a little off. What's going to happen now?
So then we cut to Anne in Kevin's house with Grandma again. Apparently, she just walked right in again, and this is where I wrote "statue of a naked man."
Yes.
Looks like a wood carving too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very
A
artsy
big one.
statue.
Statue. Statues never have big ones, Karen. Then Anne goes upstairs and she finds Laura's body in Kevin's room wearing her cap and gown. And Kevin is there
Okay.
as well.
Okay, before we go further, because this is going to start to get really exciting, he does have a Vampirella
He
poster
does.
on his
Oh,
wall.
Karen, I'm impressed that you even noticed that.
And that is a 1996 American direct-to-video superhero film, which was part of the Roger Corman Presents series based on the Vampirella comic book. It was directed by Jim Wynorski, who said in 2013 that it was the one film of his that he regretted making. I look back on it today and just say, oh well. But back when the memories were fresh and the blood on the floor was yet to dry, it was painful to even edit. But there was a lot of stuff. He says it was 112 degrees out. There was studio interference, accidents, theft. So it's not his favorite film. But yes,
Who played the title character in that film, Karen? Do you know?
I do not know. I'm sorry.
Because you know who it was supposed to be?
Ingrid Pitt.
Caroline
Oh,
Monroe.
I had a good, okay, because I had a good, it was
And
one or the
there are
other.
fan images out there that you can find generated of her as Vampirella, and they are very impressive, Karen.
Okay. Well, there's a rabbit
She would
hole
have been awesome.
for you all to go down. But yes. So yeah, Laura's sitting there in her cap and gown.
Kevin has a knife. He
And now
confronts
we have a
Anne.
whole nother Batman moment. And he's had a psychotic break at this point. Well, he's probably always had it, but
He tells Anne that she never loved Laura, and he swings the knife at Anne, and Anne like gets away and I guess she pushes the rocking chair holding Laura into Kevin and catapulting Laura onto
yes.
Kevin, throwing them both out the window, Karen.
He says, yeah, because what happens, he says he dug her up because everybody's just like,
I guess
well,
it's more like a trebuchet, but yeah.
that everybody just went on with life and she was in the ground, so he dug her up. And then he says, you must not love, because he's going to marry her still. Like it's all happening. He's still going to marry her and all this stuff. And Anne seems a little put off. And that's when he starts saying, you don't love her.
Anne runs out the door, front door, as Kevin runs in holding Laura. She runs down the street, and then I wrote a montage of her and Laura
Yes, she's reenacting Laura's
running,
run.
and they're both running and whatever, right? Anne running on a football field. She sits on the bleachers. Kevin arrives with the knife. They fight. Anne finally uses some of her Navy training.
Yes, this was painful to watch this fight, but yes, she does a couple of times.
They fight under the bleachers. Anne finds Dolores' severed head and the body of the pole vaulter. Kevin and Anne fight some more. Anne pushes Kevin into the body of the pole vaulter because I guess he's like on a locker door.
Yeah, that's kind of
something.
like a Friday the 13th reference. Where you open the door and he's hanging there
Yes.
on the spikes.
Anne pushes Kevin into the body of the pole vaulter, impaling him with the spikes going through said pole vaulter. He gone, I wrote. It takes him a long time to die.
Yes, I said that too. He took the longest to die.
Then we cut to Anne saying goodbye to her mother. I guess she has to leave in the morning. Cut to that night, Anne sleeping, and Kevin enters, but then, oh, wait, it's her stepfather.
Raising a vodka bottle at her.
Yeah, Mom comes in and turns on the light, tells him to, I don't know, go back to bed. I don't know. Next day, we see Anne getting in a taxi in her uniform. Taxi drives underneath the Happy Graduation Day banner. Credits. The end. All right, Karen, what did you think of your, what's it called? Diploma Paloma?
Yeah, I like it. I'm digging the grapefruit juice we've been using in these drinks.
I have about 50 ounces left.
They'd be good lanai drinks, Nice and refreshing little grapefruit extravaganza.
Mine has evaporated, but I have another one in the freezer.
There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I bet your gift of a wife would like it. She should try it.
I don't know if she's a tequila person. It's very agave heavy with the tequila and
True.
the syrup and everything. So I don't know.
But
even
I like it.
And the chili adds even more to that. And I think the salt to the agave. So
it's a strong margarita with different flavors.
Okay, well, I'm not quite as versed in my alcoholic beverages as you are, Karen.
Oh, sure.
I'm a beer guy.
You've had over 200 different cocktails and you're still going to call yourself a beer guy? Okay.
Well, how many beers have I had in the time it took me to make
true.
those 212 cocktails, Karen?
All right, I stand corrected. You're correct.
All right. Anything we learned today, Karen?
We learned about track facts, graduation information, Rick Springfield, Vampirella, and fencing swords. I think that's it.
Yeah.
You did some musical stuff.
Yeah, I worked in an Iron Maiden reference, Karen. That's my goal every episode.
And a Judas Priest one.
And Judas Priest and Caroline Monroe.
Yes.
But that goes back to Vampirella. So, all right. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
Got to thank our listeners. You know why, Greg? Because there's a lot of podcasts out there. And we just want you to know we really appreciate when you spend time with us. What about you, Greg? Who do you need to thank?
Yeah, and if you enjoy spending time with us, tell your friends. They would probably enjoy spending time with us too.
And so on, and so on. Remember that? They tell two friends.
Yeah. And of course, the band Verse 13 for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
The music definitely makes the podcast better.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.